Pamphilo de Narvaez is dead. The attempt of the remaining men in his expedition party at fleeing Florida from Mexico in makeshift rafts seemed to work at first, until reaching the Mississippi River. The current the river causes swept the 4 rafts out to sea, where 2 would be lost in a hurricane, with Narvaez on board. The remaining 2 rafts would wash ashore on a beach on what is speculated to be Galveston Island. Cabeza de Vaca was Narvaez's second in command during the expedition, and he would take Narvaez's place with the demise of the explorer. Only 15 of the men would survive that winter. They called the island Malhado, which meant ill-fated. The remaining survivors would then be enslaved for 7 years by the local Native American tribes, the Karankawa and the Coahuiltecans. Only 4 men would escape from this predicament: Cabeza de Vaca, Andres Dorantes de Carranza, Alfonso del Castillo Maldonado, and a Moorish slave named Mustafa Azemori in 1535. These 4 men would begin to travel west. In the 7 years, de Vaca had learned Native American medicine techniques and became a healer in his travels, teaching the other men in his party the art. The men had been practicing in an Avivare village in August of 1535, when they were forced to flee by a hostile war party. They crossed Texas, arriving in modern El Paso in late 1535. In his travels, de Vaca developed sympathies for the indigenous people he lived among. But while he used Native American healing practices, Cabeza de Vaca claimed it was the Christian God that led to his success. The 4 men would have a following of Native Americans who deemed de Vaca and his men children of the sun. From El Paso, the men headed south into the province of Nueva Vizcaya, modern Chihuahua and Durango. From there, they would cross into the modern state of Sonora, where they would settle amongst a Pima village in the Sierra Madre Occidental range for 3 days until hearing of a Spanish-speaking village further south. Finally reaching the colonized lands of New Spain, de Vaca and his party would finally encounter fellow Spaniards near modern-day Culiacan in Sinaloa, Mexico. Cabeza de Vaca would sail back to Europe in 1537. De Vaca would later write a book on his travels, in which he would refer to Azemori as the Black, and describe him as the one who often scouted ahead of the main party, as he was the most able to communicate with the natives they encountered. Cabeza de Vaca's book, La Relación, was the first book ever published that described the wildlife, flora, and fauna of North America, and included the first descriptions of the American bison. Along with this, Cabeza de Vaca and his party were the first Europeans to set foot in the American Southwest, and Azemori was the first African.